Every morning, the world pulls at you. Notifications, deadlines, expectations, noise. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already racing. But there is a small space, a sacred window between sleep and waking, where you still have a choice. In that space, you can choose what enters first: fear or clarity, doubt or strength. What you say to yourself in those first few moments is not small. It is direction, is intention. Like tuning an instrument before a performance, your inner voice sets the frequency for your entire day. Speak carelessly, and the day may unfold in chaos. Speak with awareness, and you carry peace through the storm. 5 lines, just 5 truths, whispered from within, can anchor your energy, strengthen your mind, and awaken your spirit. Let us now explore these 5 lines, not as words to recite, but as energies to embody. I am still, I am present. These are not words meant for recitation, they are meant for realization. To be still is not to freeze the body. It is to recognize that your mind does not have to chase every thought. And your spirit does not need to follow every emotional impulse. Presence is the doorway to power, and stillness is the key that opens it. The moment you wake in the morning, your mind wants to move. It remembers conversations, brings in yesterday's unfinished thoughts, reaches for the phone, plans worries, and begins to run. But in that very moment, you have a choice to follow the movement outward or to rest inward. When you say, I am still, you are not demanding silence from the world. You are not asking for a quiet room or a peaceful environment. You are speaking to your own awareness. You are commanding your attention to return, to come back from the stories, from the distractions, from the restless need to solve, perform, or achieve. Stillness is not something you create. It is something you uncover. Beneath all the noise, it is always there. The stillness of your being is not the absence of life, it is the essence of life. When the lake is calm, it reflects clearly. When your mind is still, reality becomes clear. Most people confuse stillness with passivity, but that is not true. To be still is not to stop moving, it is to move from a place of rooted awareness. Stillness gives your actions depth. It makes your presence real. You can walk, speak, work, and engage with the world. But when you do so from stillness, you are no longer reacting. You are responding. And that response comes from clarity, not from habit. That response is guided by awareness, not by fear or urgency. Presence, the second part of this affirmation, is the natural fruit of stillness. I am present means I am here. Not in the past where regret lives, not in the future where anxiety waits, but here where your breath moves, where your feet touch the ground, where life is actually happening. Presence is not a distant skill for spiritual masters. It is your birthright. But you must choose it every day, especially in the morning when your consciousness is soft, when the world has not yet fully entered your mind. That is the moment to anchor this truth. When you affirm your stillness and your presence first thing in the morning, you create an energetic foundation. It is like building a temple before the winds arrive. Throughout the day, people will try to shake your peace. Situations will test your reaction. But if you have touched stillness before you have touched the world, you move differently. Your gaze becomes steady, your breath remains calm, your voice carries weight. Why? Because you are not lost in motion, you are not scattered across thoughts and fears. You are centered in yourself. This line is not a shield against life. It is a mirror that shows you how to live with attention. It reminds you that your true self is not the one running through plans and expectations. Your true self is the witness, the one behind the thoughts, behind the labels, the one who sees, who feels, who observes without attachment. And the more you remember this, the less power the world has over you. Say it slowly, say it without rushing. Say it with your hand on your heart and feel the vibration of those words from the inside. I am still. I am present. If your mind begins to wander, that is fine. Gently return. If emotions arise, welcome them. Let them move through you, not around you. Stillness is not resistance. It is openness without struggle. And presence is not concentration. It is effortless being. To start your day in this state is to walk with quiet strength, not needing to control everything because you are already aligned with something deeper than control. You are aligned with the awareness that watches all things, but clings to nothing. I carry no weight from yesterday. Each morning, life gives you a new beginning, not just symbolically, but energetically. The breath you take when you open your eyes is not borrowed from the past. It is new, fresh, untouched. But for most people, the body may be waking into a new day, while the mind is still carrying the echoes of yesterday. Words that were spoken, mistakes that were made, disappointments, regrets, comparisons. These weights do not disappear with sleep. They wait quietly in the shadows of the mind, and if not brought into awareness, they shape your day before it has even begun. When you say, I carry no weight from yesterday, you are not pretending the past did not happen. You are acknowledging that you are not obligated to carry it. The experience is real, but the burden is optional. You are reminding yourself that the past cannot be changed, only understood, accepted, and released. Most of the weight people carry is not physical, it is emotional, it is mental, it is the tension in the shoulders, the heaviness behind the eyes, the pressure in the chest. These are signs that something has not been let go. And when you carry yesterday into today, you are no longer meeting the present moment as it is, you are meeting it through a filter, distorted, clouded, and conditioned by what is already gone. There is a difference between memory and attachment. Memory serves to inform, to teach, to reflect. Attachment distorts. It holds you hostage to what no longer exists. Some people wake up already tired, not because their body lacks rest, but because their mind never truly let go of what happened the day before. One conversation plays again and again. One failure rewinds like a loop. One comment haunts the silence. This is where the practice begins, the practice of release. You do not need to fix the past before you move forward. You need only recognize what belongs to the present moment and what does not. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not condoning harm, and it is not forgetting pain. It is choosing not to be poisoned by what you cannot change. You may have hurt someone or been hurt. You may have acted in anger or suffered from injustice, but to carry these events each day is to relive them endlessly, to reopen wounds before they have healed. So, each morning, even before you brush your teeth or speak your first words, let this become your inner discipline. I carry no weight from yesterday. This line is a declaration of emotional cleanliness. It is a cleansing breath, a spiritual bath, a return to your natural state, which is not heaviness, but freedom. Life moves forward with or without your permission. The only question is whether your energy will move with it. If you continue to drag the past behind you, your steps will be slow and your presence diluted. But if you begin each day with this inner shedding, your body becomes light, your heart becomes soft, your mind becomes open. Some mornings, This line will be easy to say. On others, it may feel forced, but say it anyway. Feel the resistance, feel the memories that arise. Do not fight them, but also do not feed them. Just witness. Remind yourself gently that each new day is a teacher with a different lesson. If you are holding yesterday's book, you may miss today's message. The truth is, nothing in the past has the power to bind you unless you continue to bind yourself to it. The pain was real, but so is your power to be free. My energy is sacred, and I protect it. Not everything deserves access to your inner world. Not every voice, every opinion, every invitation or distraction is worthy of your presence. Most people spend their days leaking energy, not because they are not strong, but because they are not intentional. They give their attention away too easily. They engage in conversations that leave them drained. They react to negativity. They absorb emotions that do not belong to them. And over time, the sacred becomes diluted, the vital becomes neglected, and the essence of their being becomes scattered across countless unworthy directions. When you say, my energy is sacred, you are not making a proud statement. You are making a humble acknowledgement of truth. Your time, your awareness, your focus, and your emotional field, these are not infinite resources. They are limited and precious. Let's close by, just if you would not leave your home open to every passerby, you must not leave your internal state unguarded. Every thought you dwell on, every piece of content you consume, every person you allow to influence your space, all of it either nourishes or depletes. Sacredness begins with discernment. To protect your energy is to recognize the cost of distraction, not only the external distractions that steal your minutes, but the internal ones that rob you of clarity. Worry, gossip, comparison, overthinking, these do not come free. They come at the price of your peace. If you wish to live with depth, you must begin to treat your inner space as a temple, not rigidly, not with resistance or avoidance, but with quiet respect. It is not a matter of cutting off the world. It is a matter of choosing how deeply you allow it to enter you. You do not need to react to every comment. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need to participate in every emotional invitation offered to you. Sometimes the highest form of wisdom is to remain rooted while the world spins. When others are lost in noise, you return to breath. When others seek validation, you return to presence. This is how energy is preserved. Not by hiding, but by standing in awareness. That is how you transform from someone who is easily shaken to someone whose silence holds strength. To declare your energy as sacred is not to become selfish. It is to become responsible. It is to understand that what you give to others must first exist within yourself. You cannot offer peace if you are consumed by chaos. You cannot uplift others if you are constantly emptied. True service, true compassion arises from an inner overflow, not from inner depletion. So you make time to nourish yourself, to rest deeply, to breathe slowly, to connect to what renews you. Whether that is time in nature, quiet contemplation, mindful movement, or solitude. These are not luxuries. These are foundations. As you repeat this line, each morning your posture begins to change. Your boundaries become clear. Your responses become deliberate. You do not rush to please. You do not stretch beyond your limits. You do not apologize for choosing peace. The sacred is not loud. It does not demand, but it radiates. And others feel it when they are around you. They may not know why, but your presence feels clean, grounded, untouchable. That is the result of protecting what is within you. You do not need permission to value your energy, you only need awareness. When you wake and speak this line to yourself, you are reminding every part of your being that you will not treat this day carelessly. You are setting the tone, not just for how you act, but for how you allow yourself to be impacted. From this place, even the challenges that arise cannot pull you far from center. You have drawn the line not out of fear, but out of deep respect for the life that flows through you. I walk with clarity and intention. Each day offers you a path, not one single path, but many. Some will pull you toward distraction, some will pull you toward purpose. Some will feel urgent, but lead to emptiness. Others will feel simple, but lead to depth. The difference lies not in the world outside, but in the clarity within. Clarity is not about knowing every step ahead. It is not a map of certainty. It is an inner light that allows you to see your own direction amidst the noise. And that light becomes visible only when you are still enough to look inward before moving outward. When the mind is fogged by doubt, by the need for validation, by chasing what others define as success, then every step becomes unsure and your movement is reaction rather than response. Clarity means remembering why you move at all, why you speak, why you choose, why you say yes or no. Without that inner compass, even progress becomes meaningless. You may be busy, but not aligned. You may be successful in appearance, but lost in experience. That is why the first words in the morning must remind you. Walk with clarity, not stumble, not rush. Walk step by step, with presence, with direction, with eyes open inward and outward. Intention is the discipline that brings structure to this clarity. It is not enough to feel inspired for a moment. Without intention, inspiration fades. Intention gives shape to your actions. It transforms wishful thinking into mindful movement. The world is full of people doing things without knowing why. They follow routines without purpose. They engage in conversations without care. They react to life as it comes, never pausing to ask, is this aligned with my path? But to live with intention is to place your awareness into what you do. Even the smallest act, like drinking tea or opening your door, becomes a form of practice. You are not rushing through life as if trying to reach an end. You are walking through life as if every moment matters. And it does. When you begin your day by affirming clarity and intention, you break the pattern of unconscious repetition. You choose not to be swept away by the current of habit. You choose to be the one who steps, not the one who is dragged. In that clarity, you realize some things do not deserve your time. Some goals are not truly yours. Some paths, though popular, are not meant for your feet. You begin to say no without guilt. You begin to say yes without hesitation, not because someone told you what is right, but because you can feel what is true. Clarity gives your day precision, intention gives it depth. They are the sword and the sheath. Together, they cut through confusion and keep your energy protected. You wake not simply to survive another cycle, but to move with purpose. Even when the destination is unclear, your reason for walking remains grounded. It is not ambition that drives you, but alignment. You no longer seek the approval of the outside world to confirm your steps. You walk with yourself, and that is enough. In a world that rewards speed, to walk slowly and deliberately is a form of strength. To pause before answering, to breathe before deciding, to reflect before reacting. These are the marks of a life led from the inside out. And it begins with the first thought in the morning. Before the world enters, you enter yourself. You check your compass. You remember your path. And then you walk Not faster, not louder, but with clarity and intention that no external force can destroy. Gratitude is my foundation. Before you take your first step into the day, before you check your schedule, speak to anyone, or respond to any task, the most important alignment is not with what you want to achieve, but with what you already have. Gratitude is not an emotion you wait to feel. It is a discipline, a conscious perspective, a foundation that you build your internal world upon so that whatever rises on top of it remains steady. Without this foundation, the mind constantly shifts its attention toward what is missing, what is lacking, what is not yet arrived. In that state, even when blessings appear, they go unnoticed. Even when life offers something beautiful, the restless mind moves past it in search of something else. This creates suffering because the focus is always on the gap, never on the ground that supports you. To begin the day with gratitude is to train your attention to see clearly. It is not blindness to difficulty. It is the clarity to recognize that despite difficulty, there is still much to hold with reverence. Breath in your lungs, warmth in your body, the opportunity to begin again, the wisdom that yesterday's pain brought you, the strength that you discovered by going through things that once felt impossible. These are not small things. These are sacred pieces of your journey. And when you can wake and look at the ordinary through the eyes of the extraordinary, then you begin to move with a softness that is not weakness, but wisdom. Gratitude humbles you without making you small. It reminds you that life is not something owed to you. It is something given, something borrowed, something flowing through you for a time. This realization strips away entitlement and replaces it with appreciation. It clears the noise of wanting more and brings you back to the depth of what is already here. A cup of water, a moment of silence, the sky outside your window, the presence of someone you love. These become enough not because they limit you, but because they return you to the fullness of what it means to be aware and alive. When you build your morning upon gratitude, it shapes the way you respond to challenge. You no longer see every difficulty as an enemy. You begin to recognize the lesson, the refinement, the quiet strength being forged through discomfort. Gratitude makes space for growth. It does not ask life to be easy. It asks you to see clearly, even in loss, even in endings, even in the seasons where nothing seems to move. There is still something within that can be honored. And from that honoring, energy arises. Not forced energy, but a natural vitality that comes from being in harmony with life as it is. There are people who have everything yet feel nothing. There are people with very little yet walk with a deep peace. The difference is not in their possessions, but in their perception. Gratitude is not an outcome, it is a lens. It allows you to see your path with perspective, your failures with grace, your small moments with joy. When you begin your day from this place, your actions are no longer driven by desperation. You do not move from lack, you move from fullness. You no longer need to prove your worth because you recognize that worth exists before anything is achieved. Each morning, when you remind yourself that gratitude is your foundation, you create a stillness that the world cannot shake. You will face noise, but it will not reach your core. You will be tested, but you will not be uprooted, because your foundation is not based on fleeting success or changing moods. It is based on something steady, something eternal, something within reach at all times. That is the gift of gratitude. It brings you back to the now, and it makes the now enough. And so, as you rise each morning, let these 5 lines not be mere words, but seeds of transformation. When you speak them, Speak with presence. Let them shape your thoughts, align your energy, and ground your actions. You are not beginning the day by accident. You are stepping forward with clarity, strength, and reverence. Carry no weight from yesterday. Protect your sacred energy. Walk with intention. Stand rooted in gratitude. This is how you move from reaction to mastery, from unconscious habit to conscious living. Let your mornings set the tone. Let your inner world lead. This is the path forward.